The story begins at the university hospital, where a young boy deeply wishes to live. The doctors say it is a disease they have never seen before. They believe it will likely be named after him. After examining everything, they estimate he has around 6 months left. He feels shocked and helpless. His whole life he works as a delivery worker, doing his best every day. Just when things finally start getting better, he learns that he is going to die. As he walks outside, someone warns him about the road, but his mind is full of pain and fear. Being told he has only a few months to live feels very unfair, especially on the same day he wins the lottery jackpot. He feels desperate. He does not want to die. He wishes someone or something would save him from death. Even though he wants to live, he never thinks it would lead to this. He finds himself reborn, but not as a person. He is now a bald skeleton. Of all the things he could have become, he wonders why it had to be this. In this new body, he cannot even enjoy the smallest things about living. He believes that the monster will eat him, and then everything will finally end. He feels ready to be done with all the pain and struggle. The last enemy falls. The fight is over. The group that tried to rebel is completely wiped out. Slowly, step by step, after being reborn as a skeleton and starting as a weak summoned monster, he begins to change. Over time, he evolves. Now he has become something stronger, an undead lich. The death monster bows and calls him the Undying Forerunner. It says that it has brought prosperity to the demon kind, who were once close to total ruin. He has no heir, but he takes pride in being the great demon king, Zack. Even his name sounds strong and evil. Among the others, many are kings too. They often call him King Isaac, but he keeps correcting them. His name is Yisak. Still, they get it wrong again and again. He gives up trying to fix it. He bids farewell to those who still cannot pronounce his name right. The death monster asks where he is going. He answers with purpose. He wants to get what he was promised. His final goal is to become human, to be able to eat, to feel, even to know pain again. He enters the divine realm. There, he completes the task of defeating all those who dared to challenge the gods. Now, he reminds the gods of their agreement. As written in the contract, they are supposed to turn him into a human. He succeeds in everything they asked. Some gods are shocked. They thought it would take him at least 500 years to finish. They wonder what kind of person could do such a thing. Whispers pass between two of them. It becomes clear that the promise to make him human might have just been a trick, to make him work for free like a servant. But he hears them. He grows angry. He says he has done everything they said. He demands they keep their word. They ask him to do just one more thing. He feels insulted. He wonders if they think he is as empty-headed as the skull he wears. He cannot believe they still take him for a fool. He becomes furious. He decides that gods or not, they will pay. Rage burns inside him as he realizes they might have made him do everything without ever having a way to turn him human. The divine whisper in panic. One of them admits they were always against making a deal with someone like him, a lowly maverick. Another thinks he has figured it all out. He looks at them with cold fury. He is not bound by normal rules because he is summoned through a forbidden art. As an undead, he does not age and cannot die from time alone. His powers are so great now that even the divine realm see him as a threat. He warns them, if they cannot keep their promise and turn him human, there will be a price. They panic and beg for more time. They try to ask him to handle a few more problems first, but he has heard enough. Failing to keep their word means they must face the cost, possibly even their lives. They call him a madman, but it is too late. The gods stay alert. They know. They cannot let their guard down. A new disaster, one of the same kind, could appear at any time. One of them decides to create a perfect vessel in the human realm. The goal is clear. Destroy every last human being. A servant warns that this action will drain a great amount of divine power, but the god ignores the warning. A proper soul must be selected to place inside the new body of the vessel. As for the skeleton demon king, he is cursed to live as a bug and suffer eternal torture. Meanwhile, the demon king's mind struggles. He realizes he has been tricked. He wonders if becoming a brainless skeleton made him lose his sense. But then something changes. A bright light surrounds him. He cannot shield his eyes because he no longer has insect limbs. Instead, he now has hands. He feels warmth and softness. He begins to understand. He has a human body now. He has truly become human. The gods had planned his death, yet somehow he survives. Nearby, voices call him holy. They say the saint has opened his peaceful eyes. He looks around and sees that he has been reborn as a baby. People speak softly and treat him with care. They wonder why the saint has awakened so early. One man, called the Knight, holds a glowing spirit in his hands and prepares to send the child back into sleep. The baby cannot speak, but his thoughts are clear. He wonders who these people are. Are they his caretakers? He begins to believe it is true. He really has become human. But the peace does not last. The nurse apologizes, knowing the child has just awakened, but says they must carry out their duty. A spell is cast, and in that moment, his soul fades again. Confused and angry, he realizes something is wrong. He had just become human, so why is he supposed to die again? At the hospital, a nurse stands beside the newborn, gently apologizing as she prepares to put him to sleep forever. She carefully places a feeder at the baby's mouth, trying to get him to drink. The baby refuses. Inside, his thoughts are sharp and alert. He knows he has finally become human and finds it impossible to eat something so suspicious without knowing more. He wonders how he became human in the first place. His thoughts race as he struggles to make sense of what happened. The nurse continues calmly, asking him to eat properly like a normal baby and rest peacefully. Suddenly, she calls him by a name, Isaac. The baby freezes. That is not just a name. It sounds just like his own, only pronounced differently. Lord Isaac. He remembers the spell the gods used to seal him. Banish disaster. He begins to understand. When they wrote the name in the spell, they must have written Isaac instead of Yisak. That small change allowed his soul to escape the ceiling and enter a new body. Tears roll down his tiny face. He has been reincarnated into a different body, but one that shares the same name. Inside, he feels triumph. The gods thought they could end him, but they failed. He lives once more. They tried to run from him, but now their mistake has brought him back. The baby thinks to himself that the gods were fools. They believed they had won, but they failed to seal him away. The nurses start to panic. They do not understand why the baby is so strong. Both of them struggle as the baby refuses to drink the milk. Inside, the baby is filled with anger. He realizes the feeder contains some kind of vegetable juice. He feels disgusted. After finally becoming human, this is the first thing he tastes. He senses something dark and ominous entering his body. The scene shifts to the Emperor of the Holy Empire, Hala, Alexander Heathcliff Hala. He stands tall in the royal hall as priests and other members of the clergy bow and greet him as the son of the empire. The priest and his companions approach, him with solemn faces. The emperor asks them to explain their reason for coming. The priest explains that they are there to acknowledge the saint candidate from House Eshwa. According to tradition, the Holy See must be present when matters concern the Holy One. Alexander listens carefully but expresses his disapproval. He believes they treat their presence as a duty rather than an honor. He warns that leaving the saint candidate in their care once already led to serious risks. If something were to go wrong again, the consequences could be worse. The priest becomes uneasy. He tries to respond but cannot finish his sentence. As the priest prepares to speak, a servant suddenly rushes into the hall, shouting about the young master. Everyone turns in alarm. The emperor responds loudly, but instead of panic, he bursts into praise. He sees the baby and cannot help but admire how cute he is. He notices the baby's round belly and says he must be eating very well. To him, the child looks like a little angel. The priest, however, is visibly annoyed. He points out that the baby has already consumed 15 bottles of what he calls tasteless vegetable juice. He becomes suspicious. It should not be possible for the baby to still be alive after drinking that much. Moments earlier, the baby himself had sensed something strange. He felt something ominous entering his body. Now, he understands what it is. It is not ordinary juice. It is a type of holy poison, a powerful substance made to destroy the sacred power inside members of the clergy. This poison does not act right away. Instead, it builds up slowly in the body until it becomes deadly. But there is something unusual about this poison. It is made using demon mana. As a former demon king, the baby feels no harm from it. In fact, it is perfect for him. His body accepts the mana-rich mixture easily. To him, it tastes wonderful. He enjoys the mana-filled baby food and wants more. He finishes each bottle eagerly and even signals for more. The priest is shocked. He cannot believe what he is seeing. The baby, once targeted with poison, now asks for another bottle. Feeding. Mana-rich food to a former demon like him turns out to be a mistake for his enemies, but a blessing for him. The baby feels thrilled. He eagerly consumes the mana-infused vegetable juice, enjoying every drop and asking for more. The nurse watches in disbelief. Though the drink is meant to be a slow-acting holy poison, it has no negative effect on him. Instead, the baby fully absorbs the mana. Inside, the baby thinks carefully. The mixture is not only safe, it's actually useful. He does not know who created it, but it works well for him. He decides it's time to take the next step. He prepares to go beyond the conscious world and enter the depths of his own soul. In the quiet center of that world, the unconscious realm, he plans to create a mana core. Because his current surroundings are stable and secure, he focuses all his energy. He directs the mana he absorbed toward forming the core. Creating a mana core is vital. It will allow him to use magic later on. He knows he must start preparing now. But something strange happens. A sudden surge erupts within him, a mana explosion. The energy forming inside does not match what he expected. A normal mana core is supposed to appear in one of the 3 basic colors, but his is white. That's not the only strange part. The power packed inside the still-forming core is immense, far beyond what should be possible in such a small and young body. He starts to understand. Countless blessings must have been built into this body before his soul entered it. If nurtured properly, he could grow into something far stronger than even he imagined. His will to survive, deep and unshakable, becomes the foundation of this rebirth. This desperate desire carved into his soul is what gives rise to the new form of the Skeleton King. With that, he unlocks unique and original skills. Basman. Magic, crafted from the soul of Isaac. These skills are now inherited by his new body. Outside, the attendants watch him closely. They wonder if he is finally dead, but someone checks and confirms he is still alive. Then he stirs again. His tiny voice cries out, asking for another bottle. This time, an even stronger one. But white. In the present, Emperor Alexander expresses relief that nothing bad has happened. Even though the situation came close to chaos, everything seems to have settled. The priest stands nearby, tense and uneasy. He glances at the baby with suspicion, trying to understand what is wrong. The baby remains calm on the outside, but his thoughts are sharp. He notices the priest stare and wonders if he might have taken too much of the baby's share. Still, he knows he cannot afford to look suspicious. He decides to pretend as if he knows nothing. He puts on a blank expression and smiles innocently. The priest grows increasingly frustrated. He cannot understand how the baby, who should be coughing up blood or dying from the poison, is instead smiling and relaxed. Inside, the priest's anger builds. He mutters silently in disbelief. The situation is not going as planned, and the baby's calmness only adds to his rage. Few days earlier at the headquarters of the Holy See, a tense discussion unfolds. The rule stands clear. Whoever becomes the saint will gain control over the Holy Empire. To some, this seems like a joke, which is why so many noble families begin to declare their own children as saint candidates. The emperor expresses his frustration. He refers to the noble families as overly eager and restless. A priest reassures him not to worry. Other saint candidates are already being managed. The emperor is pleased to hear this. He says that is good. But then, the priest brings up something troubling. He mentions that he recently heard a disturbing rumor. The emperor asks what it is. The priest explains that a new saint candidate has reportedly emerged from House Ishua. Hearing this, the emperor turns to his right-hand advisor. They all understand that House Eshwa is a unique case. There is nothing they can do to challenge them directly. The emperor assumes the candidate must have already died before any confirmation could be made. He simply asks the priest to verify the cause of death. The priest nods and replies with the corpse referring to the sacred rule. According to tradition, a true saint can only be selected from among the cardinals, and most commonly from the head of House Barrett. He states that his own house, House Barrett, is the rightful one to produce a saint, specifically under the name Here Barrett. The priest is restless. He was told the baby would die, but the child is still alive. He cannot understand how. This should be impossible. The scene shifts to the hospital where the Emperor Alexander arrives to see the baby. He notices the baby's shiny platinum blonde hair. The child looks healthy and bright. The priest tells Emperor Alexander not to, speak such blasphemy? He reminds himself, this man is the emperor. The baby thinks to himself that the emperor looks even closer to God than the current pope. Emperor Alexander says the baby must be the final saint candidate. The baby begins to cry. Alexander is surprised. He realizes this crying child is the saint candidate. Now he understands why everyone keeps talking about him. The priest grows worried. He sees the emperor starting to favor the baby and thinks he cannot let this happen. The priest asks for permission to inspect the child. Alexander asks what the matter is. The priest replies that something is off. He says it is impossible for a baby to finish that much vegetable juice. Alexander finds nothing strange about a saint candidate being only a few months old. The baby, once a demon king, struggles to accept the situation. The idea of being chosen as a saint candidate still feels strange to him. The priest requests permission to inspect the child. Alexander delays the request. He waits for someone from House Eshwa to arrive before allowing any further action. The child feels the demonic energy inside him starting to move. He wonders if he has been exposed. The priest suddenly senses something. A trace of demonic energy is coming from the baby. Suspicion rises. He watches the child closely and begins to doubt. The child appears calm, but the priest notices his eyes and realizes he might be thinking. He starts to believe the baby could be a fake candidate, one carrying hidden mana. A dark force reacts to the accusation. The priest informs the emperor that the Barrett has chosen a child from own house as the saint's friend. The emperor is stunned. A child his own house chosen for sainthood feels wrong. Doubt grows. The baby is shocked. He realizes the priest is trying to get rid of him. The priest picks the baby up and gives an order to summon an inquisitor. While holding the child, he begins to curse him. The emperor interrupts, reminding everyone that House Eshua is the imperial family's closest ally. He suggests reassessing the child at a later time. The priest agrees and informs the emperor that the pope will only hold the crown prince's investiture after the saint is selected. The emperor understands. His son won't be officially recognized unless he accepts the pope's chosen candidate. The baby begins to cry, sensing the Holy See's plan. He feels the weight of the manipulation. He admits to himself that he doesn't want to stay a saint candidate. It's too dangerous. His true identity could be discovered. The priest insists that, if not delayed, the child would be inspected immediately using holy exorcism. He states that if the baby is truly human, the ritual will cause no harm. The priest declares that if the child is a demon, he will be exterminated. Suddenly, the baby strikes the priest with a bottle. The priest stumbles, blood pouring from his mouth. The baby calls him arrogant and insults him. He agrees to play along with the priest's game, for now. In pain, the priest calls the baby a fool, unable to understand how a simple bottle could hurt so much. He sees a flash of light and wonders if it is holy power. Confusion fills him. He senses holy energy from the baby. He begins to doubt everything. If the baby holds holy power, he might truly be the saint. But the priest refuses to accept it. To him, everything still feels wrong. The baby throws the bottle, and a burst of light follows. He recognizes it as mana, brilliant and intense. He pretends to be innocent while strengthening the bottle with magic. He plans one final strike. Inwardly, he mocks the priest as he attacks. The bishop watches, awed by the light. The baby notices something strange. Each time he uses mana, he also feels a trace of holy power. Normally, mana and holy power can't exist together. He suspects this is connected to the white mana core inside him. The priest, shaken, declares the baby a heretic and demands the immediate use of holy exorcism. The baby cries out, taunting him. He hadn't planned to take things this far, but now he has no choice. As the priest displays his totem magic, the baby grabs his hand and uncovers something hidden. The priest is startled when a seal appears. He recognizes it immediately. A high-ranking demon corpse, a totem. It is an artifact made from demons who eat the corpses of other demons to absorb their mana. The priest always carries this totem, prepared to use it if he ever meets a demon. He cannot understand how the baby knows about it. The baby shows no fear. He blames the priest for pushing him this far. The result is clear. Because of the priest's actions, consequences now follow. After seeing this, the priest thinks it is a demonic monster and feels how bad the situation has become. When Emperor Alexander sees Bishop and Martha Barrett, he immediately questions his soldiers, asking how a shadow lich could be present. He turns to Bishop and Martha, demanding to know what they are doing and how they allowed a demon into the temple. He asks if they have lost their minds. The priest speaks majesty it was the baby who threw the totem. Alexander responds that a totem is just an object used to seal a demon beast. He questions how it could bring one back to life. He orders all forces to protect the young lord from the demon beast and from Bishop. The soldiers respond with obedience and confirm his command. The priest is shocked by the situation. The baby smiles, thinking to himself that the trick has worked. Bishop prepares to attack, and the baby watches closely, curious to see how strong Bishop really is. Bishop shouts, telling others to kill the saint. The baby is shocked to hear those words. While the emperor shields the baby, he wonders why the demon beast is trying to attack him even after he saved the child's life. The baby sighs, thinking the paladins should still be able to protect him. Emperor Alexander gasps as he looks at the child in his arms. The baby turns his eyes toward the bishop, wondering if someone like him can truly be called a paladin. The bishop, filled with rage, rushes forward and shouts to kill the saint and save the captured king. The baby lets out another sigh. He knows. He should subjugate the threat quickly, but he must do it without drawing attention to his use of magic. As the bishop closes in, screaming for his death, the baby asks himself why everyone in this life wants to kill him, when he is the only one who has revitalized them. The baby's inner skeleton is revealed, and he calls the people around him foolish demankind. He releases a surge of mana and abolishes the bishop in an instant. Even the baby is shocked, unable to understand how his mana transformed into holy power. Everyone around him stands amazed. Emperor Alexander is stunned, questioning whether what he saw was truly holy power. Whispers rise as the people around speak of young Lord Alexander driving out a greater demon at such a young age, praising him as expected of the young lord. The baby lifts his hand toward the lingering holy light, confused. He feels the energy and wonders how it could be holy power. His mana begins to run low. He starts to question whether his strange new body is converting mana into holy power on its own. The priest struggles and demands to be released, calling the baby a heretic who has chosen the power of demonkind. He accuses the child of daring to crawl into the Holy Empire. He turns to Emperor Alexander, insisting that he will prove the truth. He declares he will reveal the baby's real identity through an exorcism. Emperor Alexander raises his voice and stops the bishop. He demands to know how he dares accuse an innocent saint candidate. He reminds him that he also allowed a greater demon to appear before the imperial knights. Alexander makes it clear he will not let this matter go, even if the bishop is from the Holy See. The priest remains firm. He believes that if the emperor begins to suspect something, the truth about the infiltrator will soon be revealed. If that happens, the Holy See itself could be in danger. Even if he must die to take responsibility, he decides that he must act to protect his family. For that reason, he believes he must kill the saint candidate from House Eshua. The emperor tries to console the baby, saying that the demon has finally shown his true colors. The baby thinks to himself that such an attack will not kill him. But then he pauses, realizing he has no mana left. A voice calls out, warning anyone who dares to lay hands on the direct descendant of Eshua. Clad in blue faith armor, a knight appears. The seventh son of House of Eshua, name Rilal Eshua. Rilal. Eshua orders the immediate execution of the bishop. The forces follow his command without hesitation. As Rilal shows affection toward the baby thinks to himself not to be touched and refuses to have dirty Eshua hands on him. He pauses, repeating the name Eshua in his thoughts. It sounds familiar, though he cannot remember why. Rilal. Eshua stands tall and commands proper manners, offering formal greetings to the young master of House Eshua. Emperor Alexander watches as Rilal adds an apology for arriving late. Rilal calls the young master cute and reacts with excitement. The people around admire how much the young lord likes the figurines, calling him cute. They believe he likes them so much that he starts crying. The baby thinks to himself how he is supposed to survive in this family. Then he recalls something. The name Eshua sounds familiar. He remembers the generations of saint candidates who once tried to destroy him. He recalls the 45th saint candidate, Ox Eshua, and the 61st Ox Eshua. He realizes his name is not meant for someone like them. All of them were named Eshua something. Frustration builds inside him. Not only is he a saintess candidate now, but he is also part of the family of saintess candidates. He wonders what wrong he committed in his past life to deserve this.